have stories. Every single one of us. From the highest of the high to the lowest of the low, we all have stories. Exploring the world for the greatest stories of all time.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Aron O'Dowd Show.
The Aron O'Dowd Show. Our soul is the screen upon which we project our dreams. What's your story?
Hello and welcome on the Aron O'Dowd Show. We always have an amazing guest, and we have another one. She is the Confidence Diva. I wonder what this is all about. Her name is Anna J. Lewis. And hello, welcome to the show. Anna, how are you doing?
I'm well, Aron. How are you? And thank you so much for having me today.
Very welcome. Tell us where you're calling in from today.
I'm calling in from Dallas, Texas. I live outside of Dallas in a little town called Greenville in the Sticks. So I say Dallas because people know where that is. They can relate to that.
And is that where you're originally from?
I was born in East Texas. I grew up in the Panhandle up in Amarillo, Texas. But I spent most of my life in California, most of my adult life in California. We just came back to Texas about 5 years ago after I retired, and my husband said, "We're going back to Texas." So I said, all right, I'm California. I'm Texas born and California seasoned. So I'm a seasoned woman coming back to Texas. So let's start this again.
And what was it like growing up in East Texas in your day?
What was life growing up in East Texas?
Yeah.
Wow. We would spend summers with our grandparents. We would spend a week with one set of grandparents, my mother's parents, and we spend the next week with my daddy's parents. And it was a whole different ball game because we were on a farm in the country with outhouses and kerosene lamps and wood burning stoves and all that kind of stuff, and getting up and going to working in the fields and picking cotton and tomatoes and peas, and sitting on the porch shelling those kind of things. It was an interesting life because as the oldest girl, I always had the responsibility for my sisters. My brother's older and so I'd have to wash all the clothes, so my grandmother didn't have to do it. It was a lesson in responsibility for me growing up in East Texas, spending summers there with our grandparents so my mother and daddy could have a break. They needed a break with 6 kids.
Wow, 6 kids. That's a huge family, you know?
Yeah, there's only 3 of us left now. My baby sister, my brother, and me. We come here in one order, but we don't leave in that order. It's just like from the oldest to the youngest. It doesn't necessarily, we don't go out that way. And it's just interesting to see how life plays out.
And I presume working on the farm in the summers taught you an amazing work ethic.
I wasn't very good at, I'm not an outdoorsy type of person. I don't like the mosquitoes and the bugs and the heat. And I wasn't very good when my grandfather would take us out and we'd be picking peas or whatever we were doing. And I was the last one lagging behind. So finally, he just left me at home. He left me at home with my great grandmother to take care of her while they all went to do the work. And he would pay us for working in the fields. And so if he paid my sister or my brother, he paid him $5.50, I would get the 50 cents because I stayed at home. And they would be mad to give up their change, but I would be happy to get a little change because he would take us for ice cream and we had our own money. And that was a lot of fun. It was a good times.
And what was your favorite ice cream?
I like French vanilla ice cream. I'm a vanilla kind of girl. Sometimes I get chocolate and vanilla mixed, but I prefer the vanilla. There's too much chocolate. It's just, vanilla is what I like. So yes, pecan, butter pecan. I like lots of sweet things. And, people have been getting on me about that. And I've stopped saying all my teeth are sweet teeth. I've stopped saying that because that's a confession that I want to get away from and get away from eating so many sweets. But it's a challenge.
It's an amazing challenge to have in some way,
It is, because I'm a baker. I used to be the cookie lady. I had cookies in salons and in the break rooms at the post office, and I was taking custom orders to make cookies and cakes for people. I did that for about 3 years. I enjoyed that. And then it just got to be a little bit too much, and I had to decide I was going to do something different.
What did you enjoy about it?
I love baking things and giving. I used to give my baked goods as gifts, I thought, and people began to appreciate it more. In the beginning, I was doing it because That's what I could afford to do. Like when at work, when we had a gift exchange and stuff, I would give baked goods and people would say, well, I wanted a calendar. And I'm thinking, you're lucky I could make you some peanut butter cookies. You're lucky I had enough peanut butter at home to make peanut butter cookies. Leave me alone. And I would put scripture on there. I was Proverbs food for thought labels on there and things. And so always sharing the word with people and sharing my culinary skills, baking with people and being a blessing. And to this day, people enjoy my baking.
You say blessings, probably living in Texas, church is at the foreground of society. Did you go to church?
Yes, I do. I'm an ordained minister. I grew up in the church. I spent a lot of time in the church. I grew up in Pentecostal churches, and we spent so much time in churches, like it was interfering with my social life in high school. I had this little boyfriend. His big brother was telling him, "You don't need to be dating someone who's always in church." It was just amazing to see how people would react to things like that. But yes, I definitely stand on the word. I'm definitely a Christian. I'm a believer, and I'm so thankful to be a part of the body of Christ.
And what did you like in the church through high school? Just the prayers and the ceremonies, or?
Listening to the word, my pastor, when he brings the word, it's such a dynamic word. It gives revelation to you. He was talking about walking in the light a couple of Sundays ago, because this Sunday we had our friends and family day, so we had a guest minister. But the Sunday before that, he was talking about walking in the light in God's kingdom. And he gave this example of how sometimes you get up in the middle of the night, you get up out of bed and you're going to go to the bathroom, you don't turn the light on and you stub your toe. I thought I can relate to that. And then he gave another example about how we take things from children because we know it'll hurt them. Our babies, we don't want them to get hurt. Then with electrical cords, or things that might. What the example he gave was they were in the bathroom, they were going to drink Drano, and you know that baby don't need the Drano, you know it's going to hurt them, and you take it from them, and what the baby realizes is that you're just taking something that they want. And so in the kingdom of God, we realize that things happen in our lives, and God allows things to happen so that he's protecting us, and we don't realize it. And these are the kind of real life examples he gives so that people can connect and kind of understand where he's coming from and what he's really saying about the kingdom of God. And I really appreciate that he shares the unadulterated word of God so that we can apply it to our lives. That means a lot to me.
Why does it mean a lot to you?
Because I grew up in a time where I grew up in church, and I started going to different churches with my girlfriend, because when I got to be a teenager, my mother would allow me to go visit other churches as long as I was going to church. And I was seeking for the truth, and everyone could give me the truth. I would ask, why is this religion right? Why is this one wrong? What's the difference between holiness and Baptist and Methodist? And what is all this about? And nobody could give me an answer. It was like, because it's right, because it is, we're right, but there was no answer. And so the truth means a lot to me when I can receive the truth of God's word and know that he's not a respecter of persons, and that he's open and to our concerns. When you learn these kind of things, you begin to have more appreciation for the God that we serve.
And is truth a core value of you based on that experience?
Yeah, it's very important to me to be truthful. It makes a difference, because when you start living lies and telling lies, you always have to watch your back and be caught, and you pay attention to what you're saying. Remember what you said last week. And if you're just speaking the truth, then there's no facade that you're hiding behind. If something comes up, you say, yeah, that was true. That was what I meant to say, and that's what I believe, and that's the truth that I'm speaking, and I'm not lying to you, so I don't have to remember what I said 10 days from now. It can be hard to be a liar because you got so many people catching up with you. After a while, you're going to get busted. And then it's like, oh, where do you go from there? Now you're labeled, people know. But my feeling is, Aaron, when you know how somebody is, you take it and you go from there. I'm not here to sit in judgment on anyone. But if you've shown yourself to be one way, then I understand that. I respect that, and I leave it alone if it's not for me. And you have to do that. You have to make decisions. You have to protect your heart, and have some boundaries in relationships. And sometimes that can be hard, and sometimes that can be hurtful. but you keep on going. Yeah, you got to keep pushing.
So you're in high school, you're graduating. Do you go to university or do you go straight into the labor force of what we call work?
Well, I'm going to tell you a story about high school. My father wasn't in the home for a while, and my mother was having a real hard time struggling. And I decided I was going to quit high school in my senior year to get a job so I could help out at home. But she didn't let me do that. And I went on to be the salutatorian of my graduating class and got a scholarship to go to the University of Denver. And I went there for 4 years, and it was a beautiful experience. It was so different from the life that I had lived as a teenager in high school and junior high and elementary. College was it was a awakening for me. It's like eye opener. Wow, this is so different. It was cultural shock for me. Wasn't what I expected.
How come?
I grew up where we went to football games and basketball games, with cheering our team on, all these kind of things. This was our social life. And when I got to DU, they didn't have a football team. It was soccer, and they had basketball, but it was different. It was different than what I was used to. And I remember they would have different events in the student union, and I went to this concert with the Doors. I didn't know what to expect, and I went in there, and it was like they were singing this song, and I remember it. Some things just get in your head, and they just go round and round, and you remember they were singing this song about when you're strange, when you're strange. No one remembers your name. When you're strange, faces stand out in the rain. I was thinking, oh my God, they were skinny with tight leather pants and tops on. And I'm thinking, oh, this is different. It was different because there was people from everywhere. If we experienced Woodstock when I was at DU, Woodstock was going on, and I remember walking over the campus, and people had pitched tents and flower kids everywhere. When I graduated, people had flowers tied to their toes, and they came in with little flower bouquets, and it was just the most informal graduation that you can ever imagine. And that was culture shock to me also, because when I graduated, it was pomp and circumstance, and you walk in with the music, and you have on your robe and your heels, and everything's just so formal. But this was just as informal as could be. And so DU was a different experience for me. I experienced a lot of different things there, but I'm so happy that I did, because it's helped to shape my outlook and how I treat people and how I look at things.
I see you as a girl that have flowers in your toes and your hair is on it, but it seems that's not the case, you know?
That wasn't me, but there was this guy. His name was David. I can't remember his last name. He was from Hawaii, and he was the sweetest young man. When I remember that people were disappearing on campus, and I was working in the costume shop in Marjorie Reed Theater, making costumes because I had to get a job eventually. And he would come and walk me back to the dorm at night. He was such a beautiful young man. He was just a beautiful friend. And I really appreciated that you can make connection with people from all over and make so many lasting friendships and have so many different interactions, learn a lot from different cultures and people's lifestyles. It was interesting. When I graduated from DU, I went back to Amarillo, Texas. I was like, oh my God, here I come. I couldn't wait when I was a teenager. I couldn't wait to get away from home. I was so excited to get away, not too far away. Just Denver wasn't that far away from Amarillo, because Amarillo's up in North Texas, up in the Panhandle. But I was so excited to get away, and my parents drove me to DU, and I remember sitting in the back seat of that car, and the lights start. It was night, and we were driving in. And the lights start circling around the car, and all the darkness. And I was sitting back there, and I was crying because I was a little afraid, because I was so excited to get away from home. But here I was. It was happening, and it was frightening. And after 4 years at DU, I was going back to Amarillo, and I thought, okay, let's see what we can do. What's going to happen from this? And I went back to Amarillo, and I got married, and ended up working at the newspaper in the art department, doing ads and things like that. And it was an interesting time. Life throws things at you, different scenarios and situations and circumstances, and you just have to learn to roll with the punches and to go with the flow. And eventually you learn to get on your feet if you continue to press. And I do that. I like to continue to press. Sometimes I get distracted, but I continue to press. It's always important that when you fall down, you get back up. And so going back to Amarillo was, my sister said to me, she said, Anna, we expected more from you. She wasn't expecting me to come back to Amarillo. I was like, okay. People put their expectations on you, right? It's like, can I live my life? Can you leave me alone? Don't be judging me because I came back to Amarillo. But they did. My sisters did. When I would come home to visit, I remember when so many of us, we all had a drawer to put our stuff in. I came home to visit from college, and there was no place for me to put my stuff. When I left, my sisters were happy to have that extra room. It's like one more body out of the house. Yay! It's only 4 of us here now, so maybe we can stretch out a little bit. Everything was. You find yourself in a situation where you don't know what your place is. You have no place at home. You've gone through school and you're coming back, and now it's like life, you have to face life. And life can be tough and life can be hard, but life can also be magnificent.
How did you overcome the feeling of I'm going back home again?
Wow. I really didn't want to go back to Amarillo. I was so happy to get out of Amarillo, but I felt like it was the only option that I had. When I graduated, I didn't have a job lined up. I didn't have a husband. I just had my mother and daddy, and they came for my graduation, and they were there with my nephew. And when it was time to go, I said, "Yeah, let's go. I'm going back home." And that's what I did. I went back home and ended up getting married. And it was a process. It was one step at a time, Aaron, one step at a time, finding employment, the things that deciding what I wanted to do with my life, knowing that my sisters were disappointed that because I was back, because I was back in the house, until I got married. So I came and took up their space and their car. The parents had gotten them a car. They were sharing a car, and they had to share it with me. And it's like, come on now, you need to go somewhere else, Anna. Come on, get out of the nest, go fly, flap your wings, girl, and get out of here and let us grow. It was interesting. And it was some good times to bond with my sisters because I was almost always more closer to my brother. He's older than me, but it was a good time to bond with them. So that was good too. So there was some good that came out of it. I learned some things. I had 2 children born in Amarillo before I moved and went to Vegas.
And then doing the newspaper, the marriage, was that something you had envisioned, or you just went out and said, I'm doing this, I gotta do this because life circumstances present this for me?
Excuse me. I wanted to get married. I thought the sun rose and set in that man. I wanted to get married. I was excited to get married. The job that I got was doing ads in the newspaper, so I got to use some of my artistic abilities. So it was small steps, but it was welcome for small steps. I felt comfortable. I didn't feel like I was out of place. I was learning and growing and finding my way.
I wouldn't associate you as artistic, and is that something you do in your spare time?
Aaron, before I had children, before I was lugging around children, I was always lugging around art supplies. I love to draw and to paint and do those kind of things, be creative, make cards, reading cards and stuff like that. I always was that kind of person. My art teachers loved me. I had favor in the art classes, and people didn't like it, but that's the way it was because I was that person that was always there, dependable, on time, upfront, doing what was required, and just having fun, being creative.
And you went off to Vegas, is that correct in what I heard?
After I was after I got graduated from DU, I went back to Amarillo. We stayed there till '79. So we stayed there for about 8 years, and then we moved to Vegas. And that was a whole new ball game. Life in Vegas was a whole new ball game for me because it was a struggle. It was definitely a struggle. I was looking through rose colored glasses at this man, thinking, I don't care if we have to live in a tree, I'm gonna be with you and everything's gonna be okay. Well, that's not true. When reality sets in, it's not true. When you have kids, they don't want to live in a tree, and they shouldn't have to live in a tree. And so I was working, and he was pursuing what it was that he wanted to do. The reason we moved to Vegas because he had this great, grandiose idea of how he was going to get over in Vegas, and it didn't work. It didn't work, and so we had a struggle, and it was a very difficult time for me. But thank God we persevered, we pressed through, and survived, and continued to move forward. And I'm so thankful because the things that happen to you, they shape and mold you into the person that you are, and you can look back and be empathetic and sympathetic with things that other people are going through because maybe you've been there and you've done that, or you've experienced that, or you have some inkling of what that's like.
How did you overcome that obstacle in your life?
I did what I had to do. I did what I had to do. I worked hard. I worked overtime. I made sure that I could feed my babies. I took care of my children. I didn't care if we were living in a car, if I had to go to places where they housed mothers with children. I did what I had to do so that we could survive and get through that.
The mama bear instinct.
No, I brought my poem today. No, I'm not a mama bear. I'm a lioness unleashed, Aaron. I'm acting silly with you. This is beautiful to be here and be so comfortable that I can just be silly and playful and in the midst of all this seriousness about, what's life been like. So I really appreciate that, Aaron. I do. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So you're at a stage where you're surviving, you're getting up and you're looking after the jobs that need to be done in the family. What's next in Anna's story? How did she get to the confidence diva that she is now?
I have not always been confident, let me tell you. It's like people judging me, people looking at me, other people's opinions, other people's perspective, other people's um, what they expect from you and things. I've dealt with all of that, and I've learned that at the end of the day, it's just me. It's me, and what am I going to do for me? Because if I'm not at my best, what I give and pour into others is deficient. And I've learned that you have to build yourself up. You have to trust yourself and get to know yourself and be confident in the abilities and talents that you have and utilize them. And for me, when I find something good, my immediate reaction is, who can I share this with? Because sharing the good with others is so important in life instead of keeping everything to yourself. I've witnessed a lot of people that kept good things to themselves, and those things got lost when they were gone. And I don't want that to be the case. I'm a person that likes to share, and I have a heart for people. And I understand because I've been through some things that I wouldn't want anyone to have to go through. And so I've learned to treat people the way I want to be treated. And that is like a ray of sunshine every day when you know that you're treating people the way you want to be treated. Because what goes from you, what you give out, will come back to you. And I really believe in that principle of pouring out so that it'll come back to me.
And in realizing that, when was that point in your life realize I have to get that confidence to do what I'm here to do?
I've had spurts of that throughout my life. I have different talents and abilities, and when pushed into a corner or pressed or challenged, I've stepped up to the plate and done what was necessary. Someone told me, it's in a twinkling of an eye, things could change. Just one move on the chessboard can change your life. And that's true. But I've done these things and made those moves on the chessboard and found myself in a place that was good. And then I would vegetate. I would withdraw. I would step back, as if you would, and not continue to press. It's like any little thing that would throw a monkey wrench in my plans or what I was striving to do would be a deterrent for me to continue to press and to continue to go forth. And I still deal with a lot of that today, but I connected with a lady called Forbes Riley, and she knows how to pull things out of you and to get you motivated to do better, to be better. And so I'm on that journey now to be better. And who am I? I'm known as the Confidence Boosting Diva. And it starts with boosting my own confidence. And so I've written some different books about things that'll help build confidence. And I'm getting my voice out there, getting my voice heard, which is a good thing. You know, one baby step at a time. That's what I'm doing, Aron.
I wonder where the diva part comes from as well, you know?
Well, first I was a queen. I was a confidence boosting queen, and I thought, oh no, queens. I'm not all that formal. I'm laid back. I'm a comfortable. I like the comfortable kind of person when you can just say something and be brilliant, and then you can sit back and rest. Not to be somewhere where you're on display all the time, wearing a crown with people bowing to you and expecting things from you, but where you could just be who you are and just laugh and share and keep it moving. And so I thought, being a diva, I'm a diva. Yes, I'm a diva. That's what I am. I come and I bring the good news and I share the good news and we move it on together. And so I like being the confidence boosting diva because as I boost my own confidence, people watch you, Aron. They'll watch and see what you're doing, what you're saying, if you're living what you say, what you're preaching. People do that. And I found someone told me that, someone, if you don't tell me, Anna, we'll just make up something. So that's true. If you don't tell people, if you don't share from your heart, people will look at you and judge you and make up things about you. And I found that to be true. And it was like, really? People need to get a life and stop doing all that stuff. But when you're pointing your finger at someone else, there's so many things pointing back at you. So it all begins with you. You have to sow into yourself. You have to feed yourself, nurture yourself, build yourself up so that you can be that strong person, to be there for people that matter to you. Because when you're weak, you can't hold nobody up.
So true. When I hear that, I think the boosting is like the petrol in the confidence and the diva to boom, but excitement through for people and who come in your circle.
Yes, light the fire and burn, baby, burn. Yeah, why not? Well, how long have we been holding back and putting our gifts and talents behind a facade of false humility and whatever, just pouring into others and giving for others and soaring to others' dreams and aspirations and letting your dreams be duffed down and snuffed out. And at the end of the day, you're so exhausted because you're always pouring into someone else and you're never doing anything to make yourself better. And so at the end of the day, if you continue to live your life that way, and I've lived my life that way most of my life, at the end of the day, what do you have to show for it? What do you have to make your family proud, to make your children proud and your grandchildren say, that's my Grammy? Yes. What do you have to show for that? You just want mundane, mediocre? Too much. God has gifted us with too much. He's poured too much of himself into us, I believe, for us to just be mundane, to be mediocre. It's time to let your light shine. And I've decided that no judgment, that I will be that lighthouse that shines to give people safe spaces where they can grow and blossom in the light that shines and casts no judgment. I'm not judging people because I've been judged too much in my life, and I know the pain of that, of people doing that to you, judging you for things maybe that you don't have any control over, for something you said when you were 10 years younger. We grow in wisdom. If we just keep living, we get more wisdom and we learn to be better and to do better. And that's the beautiful thing, that we don't have to live in yesterday, Aron. We don't have to stay there. Wherever we were yesterday, we don't have to stay there. It's a choice that we make. And so it's important to me that we continue to boost myself, strive for something better, for something higher, something that'll make a difference in people's lives, because that's what's important to me. I don't want to just live and die. And they say that she was a good lady, but oh well, she's gone now. No, I want to leave something that people will say, I'm holding on to this because my grandmother taught me how to do this. Or my mom showed me this, and my friend helped me with this. And she sewed life into me and made a difference. That's what's important to me.
What is your dream that you would like to leave as a legacy or pass down to the generation around you and in your family?
I spent so many years doing different things, attempting this and attempting that. And it was like, what are you doing now, Anna? And my kids said, yeah, that's mom. She's just off on another tangent, trying this and trying that and letting it go and never following through to completion. It's time for me. It's time for me to follow through to completion, to find the success that belongs to me. Success belongs to us. It's got our name written on it, but it's not going to happen. I remember I made a post on Facebook. It's something like, only you can hinder yourself from going forth. And there was me pushing myself, and while my feet were digging in to stay where I was. Only you can push through to accept the call on your life and to fulfill it. That's on us to do that. The call is there, the giftings and abilities and the talents are there, and people are waiting to hear our voices and to receive the life that we have to give. But we have to make a decision to do that. And that's the legacy I want to live, that I made the decision to let my light shine, to make a difference, that people can just say, yeah, she blessed my life by the life that she lived. She blessed my life by the wisdom that she shared. She blessed my life by her giving heart. I want to be remembered as a person that shared love. I have no regrets. Everything that happened to me, everything I've lived through, everything I've done and failed at, all of these things combined to make me who I am today. It's like baking a cake. You put the ingredients in there and you stir them and they all come together. And it bakes in its own time. You put it in the oven and it bakes in its own time. And so this is my time. It's my time now. I feel like this is my time now. And everything that's happened has just come together to make me who I am, so that I have the wisdom to share with other people, so they don't have to go down the road that I went down if they choose not to go down that road, because everybody has a choice. And no, I don't think it should have happened sooner. I think every day that you wake up with breath to breathe is another opportunity to get it right, another opportunity to make another impact, another opportunity to share love.
And if you could give advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Say, girl, get up and do what you need to do. Stop procrastinating. Stop dragging your feet. Stop throwing in the towel. Why would you do that? People want you to fail. There's some people that want you to fail, but you don't have to live up to those expectations. And you cannot live your life striving to live up to other people's expectations. You have to have your own expectations, your own dreams, your own things that you're pushing for, and work toward that. If you're working toward that, everything else works together for the good. I have this quart jar, and it's full of walnuts and rice. And it has a little saying on there. It says, and I keep it in my living room. And if you put the walnuts in first and you pour the cup of rice over them, everything fits together. But if you pour the rice in first, Aaron, there's no way you're going to get all those walnuts in there. They will not fit, because those the walnuts are the big things in life, the things that you are to accomplish. You need to do those things, and everything else about your life will fall into place. When you pour that cup of rice over those walnuts, if they just rock into every little nook and cranny, and they surround that walnut, and they hug around those walnuts, and they fit in that jar. You have to live your life that way. You can't just let all the little things be the things that deter you from pushing forth to get where you need to be, where you're destined to be, because you can allow to look out at the darkness that's going on in this world and allow that to rob your joy, to snuff your light, and to let you just sit back and say, I can't do it. I can't handle it. It's too dark. It's too hard. Well, if you have breath in your body, you can make a decision that I'm going to push through. You can make a decision that, yes, I can. I can do this. You can do it. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, hey, you're right. You can't do nothing if you don't make any effort to do it. And so that's the point where I'm at. I have to make the effort to do the things that are on my plate and to accomplish and complete them, because people are waiting to hear my voice, and I believe that. I've gotten that. I've got finally locked on to that I do have something of value to offer that people are looking for, that people are thirsty for. And so I want to find those people that are thirsty and be that tall drink of water that quench that thirst and make a difference, to inspire someone else to say, yeah, I can do it.
And then you seem very wise for your age. Where did it come from?
Wise for my age, let me tell you, I've been around 75 years and keeping on, okay? I've had a lot of years to gain a lot of wisdom in my chest. I have this treasure chest full of wisdom and stories and things I've collected over the years. Yeah, you stub your toe enough times, you learn not to walk so close to whatever it is that hit you, you hit your toe on. Excuse me. You learn those things. And so, yeah, and you say at my age, tiny baby, let me tell you, 75 years is like, ooh, oh my God, 3/4 of a century. So I've had some time to get some wisdom, let me tell you. And hopefully we grow, we learn those lessons, and we grow with, and we learn from them, and we apply them to our lives. We don't just continue to go through the fire, continue to get burned, and continue to complain. Right? It's time to stop complaining. It's time to do. It's time to be, do, have. That's what I was talking about to the ladies on the well call this Saturday. Be, do, have. See yourself who you want to be, and then do what's necessary to get you there, so you can have the things that you want. But you have to start with the end in mind. What is it that you want? So you have something to look forward to set your goals for, to push and to move forward towards.
And what is your big, hairy goal that you want to achieve in this life?
In this life or right now? What do you, my big hairy goal for my life?
Yeah.
Oh, my big hairy goal for my life is to just keep living and let my light shine, to make a difference in people's lives, get my voice out there, to share the wisdom that I have, because there might be a nugget that just one person needs that's going to make a difference, or they can make a difference in the world too. That's what I want to do. I want to get my voice out there. I want to share the wisdom that's in my treasure chest. And so I'm just doing that a little bit at a time. Like here with you today, Aron. I'm here today, getting my voice out there. Thanks for your graciousness to have me here today. You're helping me make it happen, and that's such a blessing to my life. I want you to know that I appreciate the blessing that you are, and the energy that you bring, and the things that you do, how you continue to make the impossible possible and continue to push forward. That's such a blessing when you can see someone say, my gifting is different. I'm differently gifted, but I'm using my gifts to make a difference in my life, so people can see me thriving and pushing forward and doing what I want to do. And they can say, yeah, I can do that too. You are an inspiration to so many people. And I want to say that you inspire me, and I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity for our lives to touch. It makes a big difference, because the people that touch your life, people come into our lives on purpose, with purpose. Some people stay forever. Some people just sow nuggets and move on, sow seeds and move on. Some people are only here for a short, for a determined amount of time. They come in, some people come in to wreak havoc in your life. I remember once my sister was, I'm very sensitive, and I always have been, and my sister was fussing at me and just giving me a really hard time, and she made me cry. And my other sister says, don't talk to Anna that way. She's real sensitive. And my sister then she said, that's exactly why I'm saying it to her. So she was pushing my buttons, toughening me up. Okay, people are gonna do that. Everybody doesn't want you to succeed. Everybody's not standing and agreeing with you and going along with you, thinking, yeah, we want her to make it. Everybody's not doing that. You have to realize that, and realize that what everybody else is saying and doing will make no difference if you're not pushing. You have to do it. It's up to you. And we have people that come alongside us to help us with that. And that's the blessing in our lives. That's the icing on the cake. But if you're not doing what's required, it's not going to happen. And so it's time to do what's required.
Why is it important that you have to share your voice?
Someone told me that I was the female Les Brown. And so I remember when I was a teenage golfer, I went to church with some of my girlfriends, and after church, we were outside the church, on the side of the church, talking and laughing. And the pastor looked out the window and he said, "Who is that with that deep voice?" I never thought that I had a deep voice. I never thought about what kind of voice I have. And people say that my voice is soothing and comforting. And maybe that's so, but I think that the message that I bring is the message of, yeah, you can do this. Yeah, let's keep pushing. Build yourself up. Things that I speak life over people. I think that that's what the message is, that I bring life. I call myself a speaker of life, an encourager of God's people. I call myself the master storyteller because I can take weave things into a story that people can, that resonates with people. And as a confidence boosting diva, I'm here to boost my confidence. So as my light shines, other people can come out and take their light from under the bushel and say, yeah, I'm gonna let my light shine too. Let's do this together. Let's lock arms and make a difference. As you can't do it by yourself. We're not an island unto ourselves. We need other people to come alongside us as we work and to make this a better world. And we really, it's important that we do that because we can look out and see how terrible the world is. But if that's our focus, then we can definitely discourage ourselves. That shouldn't be our focus. Our focus should be on utilizing our gifting and abilities and the talents that God has given us for his glory, to make life better, to make this world a better place, to make someone else's life better, to be that encourager of someone else, to make a difference. What you say with your mouth, you either tear down or you build up. And I'm here to build up. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be that person that tears down. And I have been that person that tears down. And I don't like being that. And so I refuse to remain that person. It's time to change and to evolve into the beautiful person that I'm destined to be.
As the wise elder you are and blossoming every decade that goes, what advice do you have for the young people and the new people and people that meet you on the street? Say, hey, Anna, what can you share with me?
What I would say to anyone is that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. There is nobody ever like you. There will never, ever be anyone like you. You are one of a kind. You are God's masterpiece. And he has a plan for your life. It's good and not evil. He'll give you a future and a hope. If you want to climb on and hold on to that, climb on this wagon with me. Let's make this journey together. Let's sow life into one another. Let's encourage one another. Let's be that one that gives a hand down to someone else. It's not about you, but it's about what you bring to the table. We come together and we can all eat.
I'm, listening to you, I hear the song, come let your light shine, and that's kind of what you are, Anna. And I want to say thank you so much for being on the show. You really shine your light for the confidence boosting diva that you are to others in the stories, experiences, and knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aron. It's such a pleasure to be here with you on your show, Aron O'Dowd Show. Thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure. It's been awesome hanging out with you. I love it. Thank you. That's like when you put that big smile on, it's like, oh, come on now. The whole world is smiling with you. It is beautiful. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for listening to the Aron O'Dowd Show, where the world's best stories are told. We're always ready to share another magnificent tale from the world's best storytellers. So stay tuned and rock on.